Okay, B'Siyata D'Shmaya, we're here in Sha'ar HaYichud, and we're going to be learning about the beautiful holiday of Tu B'Av. Tu B'Av is coming up right now in a few hours. Zod Hashem. And the Mishnah says, Amar Rabban Shimon ben Gamliel, Lo ayu yamim tovim liYisrael ke-15 B'Av v'che-Yom HaKippurim. It says in the Gemara, in the Mishnah, that there were no better days for the nation of Israel than the 15th of Av and Yom HaKippurim. The two best days in the whole entire calendar, Tu B'Av and Yom Kippur. So we're about to get into Shabbat Nachum and Tu B'Av. Why? שבהן בנות ירושלים יוצאות בכלי לבן שואלים שלא לבייש את מי שאין לו כל הכלים טוענים טבילה. Why is it such a happy day? The girls of Jerusalem would go out in white dresses into the vineyards. They make shidduchim. Each one would ask to borrow clothing from the other. Everybody was wearing someone else's white dress. Benot Yerushalayim yotzot v'cholot b'kramim. They go out to sing in circles and dance in the vineyards. And what would they say? Bachur sana einecha v'ra mata borer lech. They would say, boy, lift up your eyes and see what you pick for yourself. The girls of Jerusalem would say this out to the men. Al titan einecha benoi, ten einecha b'mishpacha. Don't put your eyes on the beauty. Look at the family. Like it says, Sheker achen ve'evel hayofi. Isha yirat Hashem hi titalal. Vanity is false. It's not going to do anything. A woman of God, a God-fearing woman, she's the one that should be praised. Nula mipri yadea v'yalelu b'sha'arei ma'aseh. Give her from the fruits of her hands, and they will praise her in the gates for her actions. Eshetcha, right? It's all from Mishlei. So too he says, Tzena orena benot Tzion b'melech Shlomo b'atara she'ita lo imo v'yom chatunato v'yom simchat libo. Go out and see Shlomo on his day of his wedding, right, where he gets his crown. And the joy that he has in his heart. V'yom chatunato. What is the day of his wedding? What is Shlomo's wedding day? The giving of the Torah, the day that we receive the Torah. And what is the day of simchat libo, the joy of the heart? That's the binyan of the Beit HaMikdash that will be built speedily in our days. Amen. K'ni ratzon. Another thing that happened on Tu B'Av in history is that the tribes were allowed to marry one another. It used to be that they couldn't, and then at a certain point, all of Am Yisrael was able to unify. Also, that Binyamin at a certain point was excommunicated and, so to say, cut off from the nation. And on Tu B'Av, also Binyamin was welcomed back in to Am Yisrael. It's also the day that all of the people that were dying in the desert, right? There was a period in the desert where the Jews were digging graves, and every day tons of people were dying. Tu B'Av is the day that it stopped. Also, Yerovam put all these idols on the way to Jerusalem, and that also was removed on Tu B'Av, meaning the gateways to Jerusalem, to connection to Hashem, were also removed on this day. Also, there was a massacre in Beitar of a lot of people that died. A lot of people slaughtered so many people, the Romans, that there was rivers of blood from Beitar, which is next to Jerusalem, all the way to the Mediterranean. And then they didn't allow people to be buried. They made a wall of Jewish bodies. Not one body was rotten, no flies. They lasted for a long time like that. And then they were finally on Tu B'Av. A while later, years later, they were allowed to be buried. So, and that's where the blessing of Atov v'Ametiv comes from. It says that the girls would go out into the vineyards, right? What does that mean? Mi she'en lo isha nifne lesham. Whoever didn't have a woman would go out to the vineyards. It's a whole bunch of single women dressing together in beautiful dresses, and you go out to the vineyards. Right, the families would say, the ones that had powerful family lineage, they would say, don't look at the beauty, look at the family, look what family you're marrying into. So they're not the most beautiful girl, but she came from a powerful family. תנו רבנן יפיפיות שבהם היו אומרות, תנו עיניכם ליופי, שאין האישה אלא ליופי. The beautiful girls would say, boys, look at the beauty. What's a woman for, if not to be a trophy wife, to be a beautiful wife? And the ones with family lineage, they would say, put your eyes on the family. Because what's a woman for? It's for children, it's about family, so just look at the family you're marrying yourself into. And the ugly ones, what would they say? קחו מכם לשם שמיים ובלבד שתעטרונו בזהובים. We're not beautiful, don't have so much of a family. Take us for the sake of heaven. Just make sure you bring down gold. You have a lot of money. Make sure you're taking care of us. Amar Ula said, Amar Rabbi Elazar, Atid HaKadosh Baruch Hu la'asot mechol tzadikim. In the future, Hashem is going to make a circle for all the tzadikim to sit around, and He will sit amongst them in Gan Eden, and every single one of them points with his finger and says, V'amar bayom ha'u, Ine Eloheinu ze kivinu lo v'yoshienu ze Adonai kivinu lo negila v'nisvecha v'yishuato. One shot. There you go. What's going on with all of this, right? We're now tapping into Midat HaYesod. Midat HaYesod is all about the connections back to Hashem. Connecting our external world back to Hashem, connecting everything back. The balance between Netzach and Hod. Netzach is the side of perseverance, of pushing, of not giving up, of emunah, of fighting no matter what. And Hod is the side of giving in to the beauty that's behind, not looking at the externalities, reality, making space for others, giving in to the will of Hashem. And Yesod comes to balance the two together, to make a balance, like Tiferet does with Netzach and Hod. We have to connect everything back. The work of Yesod, the Avodah in Yesod, is to connect ourselves and everything back to Hashem. To connect with all of the might, to connect with all of our power. When we take pleasure in this world, to realize that it is all from the spark of Hashem. To be successful in this, even when you don't feel the Dveikut, even when you don't feel the light, right? The levels of Netzach, Hod, and Yesod are the levels of memory. In Chesed, Gvura, and Tiferet, I feel the love, I feel the awe, I feel the Dveikut. What happens when that disappears? So in the levels of Netzach, Hod, and Yesod, how do I push through? How do I stay loyal and look beyond the externalities and not get seduced by the sheker, by the false vanity of this world? Same too, I remember what it was like to have the love of Hashem, so I'll fight for Hashem. I remember what it was like to have awe of Hashem, so I'll give in to Hashem even when I don't feel it. I remember what it was like to have Dveikut, so I'll attach everything I'm experiencing in this world back to Hashem, even when I don't feel it. This connection of Yesod is one of the branches of Dveikut. It's just Dveikut is when it comes with a clear, illuminated feeling. And here on the lower level, it's in my mind, I experienced something, and then I had a small, short sensation, small feeling, right? A taste, smell, and I connect that back up to Hashem. Everything needs to be connected back to Hashem. Obviously, in this, we have to guard our breath, we have to watch our covenant, we have to make sure that we're connected to Hashem. That goes in our eating, that goes in, obviously, in sexuality and everything else. We have to make sure that we're pure and we're connecting all of our pleasure back to Hashem and not seeking out pleasures in different places. And this is the foundation of everything, guarding the breath, elevating the breath, and also the midah of shalom, of peace. Peace is the completion of two things that come together to be one. Right? And the more that we have more different entities together, working together, but working together. They come from different backgrounds, they come from different places. Man and a woman inside of a house, right? They're opposites. They're not meant to get along. It's not normal that they could live together. Only if the Shekhinah is there and we're making peace, meaning she's a full-on woman, I'm a full-on man, and together we are embracing our individual roles and working together to build a house. That's peace. But if she wants to be the man and he acts like a woman, there's going to be lack of peace because it's not real. There's not real two entities that are coming together here. It's just a melting pot, right? It can't be. The shidduch, the connections all happen on this day, right? They all happen on this day. We can bring opposites together. And that's why the girls would go out and the men would go out, and it was all about just making these matches and making these unifications so that we can be revelations of the light of Hashem in this world. And the idea that they were dancing in a circle, and that also it was said that the tzadikim in the future will be in a circle, right? And Hashem amongst them inside Gan Eden. Why the circle? Because when everybody's connected in a circle, everyone's equal. There's no corners. There's no up, high, down. It's a circle. Everybody is face to face with each other. Everybody's on the same level with a lot of achdut, with a lot of unity, and Hashem is in the middle. Because Hashem's the point. Hashem is the nekuda. Hashem is the point of everything. And that's why it was on these days that the tribes were allowed to come together. That Shevet Binyamin was welcomed back in. We made peace. All these different things that, right? The pathways to Jerusalem were cleared away from all of the Avodah Zarah that was. Everything was coming back to Shalom. Everything comes back to Shalom on this day. Our temple was destroyed a few days ago, right? We were just mourning that less than 7 days ago. And here we are already, Nachamu, feeling the consolement and the rectification, all of that, and trying to move forward. But we have to make a decision to get in this. When the girls would go out, they would say, Sana Einecha, lift up your eyes. Lift up, Bachur, Sana Einecha, Bachur. The girls, when they would say this, Bachur, Sana Einecha, every single Jew is Bachur. Bachur means a boy, lad, a young man, right? Every single Jew is a Bachur. Why? Because it comes from the word Bechira, chosen, to choose. So every single Jew is chosen, because he's from the chosen nation. Ama Nivchar, Bachur Nivchar. Every single Jew comes and says, but Hashem comes to say to him, Becha becharti liot li la'am segula. I chose you to be an auspicious nation for me. You were chosen. Every single Jew is chosen. And what do they say to this Bachur? What are the women of Jerusalem? What's the Shekhinah calling out to every single Jew and saying, Sana Einecha, lift your eyes up. Lift your eyes up. Ascend. Aspire. Have true aspirations to become better in every facet of your life. Lift your eyes up. Look up. Stop looking down about everything in life. Look up. Aspire to get to new heights, to get to new horizons, to understand new things, to act better, to think better, to feel better. And have this desire that you should also get to a level to believe that you can do it. But in order to do that, you have to have a connection up. Don't say that it's too high for me, it's too lofty for me, it's above me, because it's not the case. Just know that the light of Hashem is being revealed right now in the secret of what's called the Yesod, meaning in a very, very concentrated way that is fit exactly for you. One of the things that Yesod does is that it takes all of the previous midot, puts them together in a perfect recipe, and gives it over for fruition. Who's going to bring it into fruition? You. So right now Hashem is bringing down all the lights, but He's bringing it down still concealed in this concentration. And therefore every single one of us could become a vessel for that revelation. The light is ready. You just have to become the vessel to want it. And if you don't aspire to be that, so then you don't want it. If your mind is not on trying to get there, to be that vessel to receive the light of God, so then you're not there. You have to at least know that it's happening, want it, and open yourself up. The kerem, they would go out to the vineyards, right? The vineyards, what's a vineyard? What's a kerem? It's a hint to Israel. Hashem calls out and He says to us, we are His kerem. Hashem calls us in Yeshayahu, in Isaiah, in the 5th chapter. There's a verse there that says, Ki kerem havaya tzvaot beit Yisrael. The house of Israel is the vineyard of Hashem. Am Yisrael is called the kerem. Like the kerem the vineyard has a lot of different vines and grapes on it. And only together is it called a vineyard, right? You take all of those individual rows of all of those vines and you call that a vineyard. It's only together when you have all of them, but there's different paths there. They're separated, they're organized in different rows. There might even be different grapes inside the vineyard. But a vineyard, a kerem, is only when you have many grapes together. That's when Am Yisrael is also together. So, again, the ugly girls, what would they say? Take it for the sake of heaven. Let's get married for the sake of heaven. Just make sure that you bring us down crowns of gold. right? Yerushalayim shel zahav, a Jerusalem of gold, the song, the famous song, right? Where does that come from? It's a piece of jewelry that we used to have in the times of the Tanaim and the Amoraim. Of like the skyline of Jerusalem out of gold. So even back then, so these girls were saying, take us for the sake of heaven, but just make sure to crown us in gold. It's a weird thing to say, no? You're a girl that's not so pretty. You don't come from a powerful family. And you say, no, just take me for the sake of heaven, but make sure to bring down gold. Why? Even a person that feels that they are ugly. It's not about the girls. It's not about these girls went out. It's us too. Sometimes we feel like we're ugly. Sometimes we feel like we're not worthy. You can't give up. You have to want to run towards Hashem, to want Hashem, to yearn towards Hashem. And that yearning is the gold. Say the gold is the color, right, of this aspect of the Binah. Binah is the secret of the gold. It's a yearning that even though, right, I'm ugly, I'm not worthy, my actions are not aligned. So I look up and I say, okay, can I do it for the sake of heaven? With gold, with a lot of gold? Can I serve Hashem even if I don't feel worthy? But that's what He told me to do. That's the right thing to do. And I'm going to put my all in it. I'm going to yearn for it. I'm going to yearn even more. That's the secret of a golden crown. And the more that you yearn, specifically when you recognize that you're in this aspect of being ugly, you feel ugly, and out of that you yearn, meaning you feel down, you don't feel worthy, and from there you push, and you still ask gold, you still ask, meaning you're still yearning, you're still trying to get to a level where you understand from within the details how it's all God, you get even more. Why? Because it says, Lev nishbar v'nitke, Elohim lo tizeh. A broken, low heart, a person that realizes, yeah, I have tons of times where I'm ugly. Frequently I'm ugly, and I don't feel worthy. It happens all the time, and I still show up. I still go to mincha, I still learn Torah, I still pray, I still do what I have to do. Even when I don't feel like I'm fitting to even belong to this nation, that I should even have the schut, the merit, to do any of these mitzvot. I feel too ugly to even connect to God. I still show up for the sake of heaven, because that's what I'm meant to do, and I put my passion in it, and I try to make it real, and I try to make it mean something. I put effort in it. Hashem will never abandon a person like that. On a deeper sense, the more a person thinks that he won't reach perfection because he's ugly, because he's not worthy, so then anytime you do something, you're really proving that it is really for the sake of heaven. I'm not doing it because I think I'm going to actually become something. I know I'm never going to be something. So then why am I doing all my actions? Because God said. But if it's because God said and that's the right thing to do, so now even though I am ugly, can I still try to make it even more beautiful? Can I at least make the action beautiful? Can I at least put my effort into it? And you're not, and when you do it from that mindset, because you feel so low, you're proving that you're not doing it in order to get success. You're not doing it in order to become anything. You're doing it because God said. All the preventions are stopped on this day, right? The gates were opened up from Jerusalem. The tribes were unified. The girls even went out to find guys and say, let's get married. All the blockages are off on this day, right? Everything became a lot more of a flow. We have to know that. So how do we merit to become a vehicle for expression to Hashem? This is work that affects every single facet of our life. And there's many, 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 many different levels. But in general, the idea is to be a Jew. To be a Jew. If you are a Jew, if you're a Ben Noach, be a Ben Noach, right? To be connected to the Jew, to Hashem, to be a person of Hashem Yitbarach, a person that reveals the truth and lives it. And he's connected to it with every single breath that he takes. And the more you put effort in this, and the more you pray on it, and the more courage and tenacity you put into your Avodat Hashem to not give up, and the more that you see Hashem behind everything in your actions and behind everything that's happening to your world, and the preventions and the successes, then you tap in. That's the Netzach and that's the Hod, and then you make the Yesod. You get to a point where you are able to connect everything back to Hashem. You are able to yearn and aspire to come back to living to a point where you're aligned with Hashem in Dveikut. You can say even to Hashem, you can start a little mini embodied session talking to Hashem. I want to be a vehicle for expression for you in this world. I want to reveal your light in this world. I want to live you so much that it comes off of me, it radiates outwardly, people understand it, people see it. So tefillah to Hashem. So this is the mindset of the next Shabbat. First things first, we have to deal with it in an internal way, to try to think about, contemplate what it means to be a vehicle for Hashem, what it means that the light of Hashem is coming down for each one of us to engage in, to try to feel that in our heart. We have to contemplate on it. We have to pray on it. There's yichudim for people who know how to do yichudim. To try to live out this truth within every facet of my life, the physical and the spiritual. Spiritually, and every time I'm doing a spiritual work, right? Praying, learning, doing a mitzvah, preparing for something, whatever it is, if it's spiritual, I'm seeking out God in that action, not my own successes. I'm learning Torah. Why? To connect to Hashem, not to understand things. Understanding is part of the way to getting to Hashem, but it's not the goal. The goal is Hashem. It's just one of the ways to get to Hashem is understanding more of what's written in the Torah. I want Hashem though, and I want to cling to Hashem. And from this recognition that the light of Hashem is the only thing that is true, and is the only thing that is actually good in this world. Everything else is just levels of concealment of that same light. But if I want the light itself, there's nothing better. There's nothing better. So when I come to do something spiritual, I'm seeking out Hashem. That's my goal. Not to socialize when I show up to synagogue and to talk with other people and to get a l'chaim at the kiddush. It's not why you go to shul. If you're not on the level where you understand you should be going to shul, so then maybe it might be something that it attracts you to shul. But it shouldn't be your goal to going to shul. You're going to synagogue to pray to Hashem, to have a connection to Hashem. And when it comes to physicality, we want to see that anything that's permissible to me, anything that's permitted to me, I want to enjoy it and engage with it with Hashem in my mind. When I come to eat, it's about connection to Hashem. It's not about another steak. It's not about just the physicality of the food. It's about the connection to Hashem, the godly light that's inside of it. Right? And I don't want to take pleasure just for the sake of taking pleasure in this world. I want anything that I experience in this world to translate in my mind and in my heart and in my actions to bring me back to a deeper connection with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this all happens, right, in Jerusalem. Jerusalem's the point where everything comes together. Yareh, Shalem. Yareh, Ira is sight. Shalem is the shalom, the completion, the multiple coming together. A full picture. Jerusalem, literally in English, is called full picture. A complete picture. The complete sight. On this day, the girls of Jerusalem would go out, right? Yerushalayim is Yareh Shalem. On one hand, there's Ira, there's awe. That's Gvura, that's the mice, the limitations, the left side. And that's where all of our actions come from as human beings down in this world, right? We act with might, we have to go out, I have to defend myself, I have to be active. All of that is the side of Gvura, a person's actions in this world. On the other side, it's Shalem, it's Shlemut, there's completion in Jerusalem, which is the idea of Chesed, the right side, the loving side, the resting, understanding that everything's being done by Hashem and it's not about me. And we need on one side to look at the Shalem. Hashem is doing everything and I'll be happy with Hashem and I'm amazingly grateful to Hashem that He's doing everything in my life and everything's about Him. And on the other side, we have to have Ira. We have to have the side of Gvura. We have the side of respect and awe and might that Hashem created us in this world with a mission to do. And that's what it means that the girls would go out and they would say, whoever doesn't have beauty of Torah and mitzvot, and he also feels like he's not worthy, he doesn't have the yichus, he doesn't have the lineage, right? He doesn't come from the family. You should do it for the sake of heaven, from recognition that Hashem does everything anyway. And a person, right, he doesn't have to actually do it. And that's what it means though also, we want the golden crowns. The golden crowns, the Torah and the mitzvot, that every single Jew is filled with mitzvot. And he doesn't feel the beauty, he doesn't feel like he's successful. So then there's this aspect, again, like we said, of L'Shem Shamayim, doing it for the sake of heaven. So I'm not expecting perfection, I'm not trying to get perfect, I'm just trying to connect to Hashem. So all we have to do on this day is seek out the most internal point. That's the work of Yesod. That's the work of everything in life, to connect everything back to Hashem, to seek it out in our Torah, in our Tefillah. And Hashem's always there with us, even if we fall. even if we fall. This day of Tu B'Av is really the root of all of the work that we're going to be doing in the high holidays of Tishrei, right? Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, Sukkot. All of that is already rooted now down here in this idea of starting to do tshuva. Right? Chazal said Tu B'Av and Yom Kippur are the best days. They connected them already there. Because right now we're 40 days before the creation of the world. 40 days from now will be the 25th of Elul. 25th of Elul is the day of the creation of the world. And from there, the 6th day of that is Rosh Hashanah, the day man was created. And everything goes from there. Everything starts from there. So now, before we even get to that point, we're getting to the root. 40 days, right? The rabbis say 40 days is the formation of the embryo, the formation of the fetus inside the stomach of the woman, the womb of the woman. So 40 days after Tu B'Av is already the idea of creation of the world, the beginning of the creation of the world. So right now, we're at the process of beginning of creation. From this Shabbat already, we're tapping into the work of Elul, Rosh Hashanah, of Tishrei. We have to have that in our mindset. What's the goal? Sana enecha, Bachu. You're chosen, now just lift up your eyes. Believe that you're worthy. Believe that you have good things coming to you. Believe that you have a connection with Hashem and that you can achieve all of your goals. But hopefully you have goals that you actually have to lift your eyes up to see them, not goals that are downwardly, right? Zat Hashem, Shabbat Shalom everybody. Hazak u'Baruch!